Hello, everyone! Welcome to Molehill Mountain. Episode 332. So, it's an extended weekend, for me anyway. I hope y'all don't have to work on Monday. And, I woke up this morning, and I felt a little gunky in the throat and a little fatted in the head. Wasn't feeling particularly great. I'm like, uh-oh. So I pull out my little COVID test from under the sink, and I take my little COVID test, and the way it works is you stick a pipette up your nose and swirl your brain around, and then you stick it in a vial of goo, and you dump it on a little testing strip. And if it's working correctly, you get a control line, and if you have test positive, you get a second line. Right? And if there's no line, you should have the control line either way. Shows that the little strip is working. And if the second line shows up, then you're testing positive. So, no lines showed up. What does that mean? It means the test didn't work. And so I thought to myself, do COVID tests expire? By gum, they do. They do indeed. And this one expired about 11 months ago. So I used the other one in the box. No control line. So I got my other box of COVID tests. I took 4 COVID tests this morning. 3 of them were broken and 1 of them was negative. So hopefully that's not a false negative. But I guess I should. I didn't realize my tests expire, so now I have no tests. So I should look into getting more tests. You know, just in case. Feel all right. My symptoms don't seem to be very COVID-y, so it's probably not COVID. Probably just not feeling great today. Oh, and my kitchen's no longer. Or my kitchen sink is no longer leaking water, so that's nice. Because that happened Saturday evening, and I had to wait until Monday to get that fixed. So I had to use my sink very sparingly all weekend. Luckily, it wasn't like, oh, I need to order a new part. It'll be a few days. The gentleman who came over here, his name I don't think I've ever caught. He had to go get a part, but he had it wherever he keeps his stuff. So I mean, he was gone for like 5 minutes. But Cafe Fox says my mom gave me 3 or 4 tests, all expired. These were the 4 tests that that we all got for free. That the government you had to put your contact information in a website, but those were those. I'm like, aha, not feeling well. I should use my COVID tests. Yeah, they expired almost a year ago. So they do expire. So, know this. Show and tell. Hang on just a second. This story is better with visual aids. Alright, so when I go outside to work out, I use a weight vest. There we go. See? Vest. It's got a big metal plate in it, one on the back too, and you can, where's the thing? There we go. Boom. Now I can go run around. And it adds extra weight for when I'm running around outside, warming up for a workout or cooling down for a workout. So, I'm on my cool down run. I'm on my way back home, stop by the mail cubbies to collect my mail, get my mail, and there's a gentleman standing over there, looks at this thing, and goes, "Cool." His voice didn't sound anything like this. "Cool, where'd you get that?" I said, Amazon? He's like, "Oh." And he's like, so it blocks bullets? I'm like, no. He goes, but that's a metal plate, right? I'm like, yeah, it's one solid metal plate. There's one in the front, one in the back. You know, you can replace it with different weights. And he's like, but it doesn't block bullets? I'm like, no. I mean, maybe the lowest, weakest, most crappy bullets ever. But I mean, you shoot me with a with a rifle or even a solid handgun, it's gonna go straight through the plate and kill me. So please don't shoot me. And that's when it dawned on me. He thought I was wandering around outside with a bulletproof vest. He thought this was a bulletproof vest, not a weight vest for working out. And that concerned me because I'm thinking, boy, I hope I don't run across someone who's like, hey, I'll give you something to wear a vest about. Pacoo. There's a good onomatopoeia for a gunshot. Pacoo. Some asshole trying to shoot me because they think, he's wearing a vest, he'll be fine. You know, so that's something that never actually occurred to me, but now it's occurred to me. But I was like getting kind of concerned about it. I'm like, no, this is a weight vest. It just adds weight for working out. Please don't shoot me. I'll die. Also, not a huge target. So, Chicago came by. It's just an empty chair. Yeah, I was getting a visual aid. So yeah, this is not bulletproof. In fact, it actually says that, not even in fine print. It's in the major text for the product description. They're very clear that yes, it's a solid plate that covers most of your torso. Don't shoot at it. It's not meant to block bullets. It's sturdy, but it's not going to block bullets. I mean, yeah, if you don't know what it is, it does kind of look like one. But, I mean, I was also wearing running pants and wrist weights and ankle weights. I guess I should point. And ankle weights. I'm not right now. And I was sweating profusely. And I was jogging. Context. You know? I mean, context should tell you that I'm working out. But, yeah, it was a weird conversation because we were speaking right past each other. I was describing the benefits of a plate vest as opposed to most weight vests, which are little individual pouches of weight, usually filled with graphite or sand or something like that. I actually like the single solid plate because you can just take the plate out, wash the vest, put the plate back in, instead of trying to pull 20 individual weights out of the harness. Yeah, it's a pain. So, Wolf Tactical sounds like it too. Yeah, you know what? This is probably, it's black. It's got a wolf on it. It says tactical. Probably not. It's. I imagine the marketing for this is, work out, but look badass doing it. Oh, working out. I was doing walking lunges. The street out here slopes down pretty steeply, about quarter of a mile or so, maybe a little bit more than that. So I grabbed some quarters, from there, and walked down to the bottom of the hill and walking lunged up it. People react weird to me working out anyway. I don't know if anyone else who works out gets weird looks from people, but I do. Maybe most people don't strap that much weight to themselves. I mean, occasionally you'll see a jogger maybe with like a headband or wrist weights or something like that, but rarely is someone wandering around with 50 pounds of weight strapped to their butt, But while I do get odd looks, I also get a lot of words of encouragement from people. People like, yeah, get it! That kind of stuff. It's like, Okay, thanks. Thanks for the encouragement. People are weird. And every dog wants to... I'm not sure if they want to, gnaw on my ankles or play with me, one of the two, but every dog I pass does that sideways walking against the leash kind of a thing, because they're like, I'm walking along, singing a song. Oh, there's a guy, let me play with the guy. It's like, do you never pet your dog? Pet your dog. Your dog should not be coming to me for pets. So... yeah. He looks weird. Hi, Jared. Matthew. Alright. So, let's see. What are we talking about today? Okay, I titled the podcast, what did I title it? It's almost like companies don't care about us. And I'm starting to think that companies don't actually care about me, or you, or us. It's, Twitter, has had this problem, in years past, where they closed accounts that had seen, that had not seen any activity in some time, only belatedly realizing that the person who has the account had passed away. Now, Facebook and Instagram have both figured this out a long time ago, that you can set up, essentially, you can memorialize the pages of people who have passed. Twitter had to learn that lesson a few years ago, and Twitter's learning it again because the person who owns it is a bad person and also very dumb. So we're having a lot of people who, or there have been several examples of full accounts that have been deleted because the person who owns it doesn't exist anymore. Because Twitter is like, well, I mean, you're dead, so let's give your username to someone else, which maybe don't do that. Don't do that. That's, so everyone hates that. That's a bad thing. I mean, how horrible to family members, the legacy of their loved one is just erased, and their name is, essentially their online presence is just given to somebody else. Just be human. I mean, in this country, legally, corporations are people, so have some humanity, maybe. Yeah? So Google, a couple weeks ago now, when was this? Boop, boop, boop. This was on May 16th. Google updated its inactive account policies to, after, 2 years of inactivity, it will delete your account and its contents. I don't know if that includes YouTube or not. Google does own YouTube, but they don't cite YouTube here. They say Google Workspace, which is Gmail, Docs, Drive, Meet, and Calendar, and Google Photos. So they'll delete your account and your photos and emails and all that stuff. Would seem to me that your YouTube, at least because at least for me, my Google account is tied into my YouTube account. It's the same thing. But it doesn't say they delete. So what it sounds like is 2 years after I pass away, all my videos are gone. Which seems like a bad way to do it. Not staying though. Don't want. Says Jared. Don't want to listen to complaints about PR moves. Can't say I blame you. So, yeah, Google, maybe rethink that one. You know? Again, it's just, don't do that. It sucks. Don't do that. Let's see what else we got. So, Target has, been a target in the last week or two. Pride Month's coming up, June. And all of our favorite corporations, who are people, don't you know, are putting in all the, the Pride merchandise, all the rainbow colored merch and stuff. Which, on the one hand, is cynical and gross, but on the other hand, it's kind of nice for communities that are disadvantaged and abused to be acknowledged as existing. So, and besides, queer people buy stuff too. So, it's nice that there's stuff. When a company acknowledges your existence and says, I want your money, it's a good feeling. Hang on, there's something crawling across my wall that should not be crawling across my wall. Out. That's 3 in the last 24 hours. There is a spider web that some spider, I would assume, built on the driver's side rear view mirror. They didn't notice it until I went to the store. And what really caught my attention was there were 2 bees wrapped up in the web on my driver's side rear view mirror. So, poor bees. So anyway, bigots who are going to bigot have been targeting Target and filming themselves destroying merchandise or harassing customers and employees. That's what you call people who work there, employees, and sometimes getting violent. In fact, by my count, there have been at least 3 bomb threats to Target, different Targets, in America this week. Bomb threats. Because they carry rainbow t-shirts. So Target put out a statement May 24th, says, for more than a decade, Target has offered an assortment of products aimed at celebrating Pride Month. Since introducing this year's collection, we've experienced threats impacting our team members' sense of safety and well-being while at work. Given these volatile circumstances, we are making adjustments to our plans, including removing items that have been at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior. Our focus now is on moving forward with our continuing commitment to the LGBTQIA+ community and standing with them as we celebrate Pride Month and throughout the year. So that's a lie. Because you can't claim a commitment to the LGBTQIA+ community and claim that you're standing with the community whose existence you're erasing because you're nervous. And don't get me wrong, they are getting violent threats. I'm sure they do feel unsafe, the employees and all customers. But throwing the queer community under the bus and erasing their existence by removing at least a portion of their merch and essentially kowtowing to the demands of domestic terrorism, not the way to go about it. Now, if you're a private person and you have, you're doing a yard sale and bigots are harassing you and making you and, making threats towards you and the people patroning your yard sale because of some merchandise that you're selling, I wouldn't blame you for, taking those bits of merchandise off the table. But here's the thing. Target is a multi-billion-dollar company. Not a private person selling stuff out of their garage during a yard sale. I don't have all the answers, but I do know that, bigots are mad, so we should do stuff to make them feel better. No. No, you should not. Never accommodate bigots. Ever. I mean, particularly when you are a multi-billion-dollar corporation. So, if I were running Target, I would, first of all, Pride wouldn't be just 1 month, Queer people do not just phase into existence on January 1st and then poof out again on June 1st, June 30th. That's not how existence works. So that community's around all year, so merchandise servicing that community should be available all year. Cool community. Celebrate it all year. You know what community is not cool and doesn't need celebrating? Bigots. That's one that you can, if you have any merch for them, you can go ahead and get rid of that, because screw those people. So, more merch. I'd be like, you know what? All merch is Pride merch now, bigots. And it's going to be there all year. And because we're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, by the way, Target's financials are public. They just reported their earnings like a couple of weeks ago, and I if I'm remembering right, they were in the green like 1.2 or 3 billion dollars for quarter one. That's just their for quarter one, 3 months. I almost said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, January, February, March. Their entire, assets is in the multi-tens of billions of dollars. They can afford to deal with bigots. Now you're gonna get bomb threats. Yeah, I know that sucks, but what Target could, here's a thing that Target could do. I don't know if it's feasible. I don't know if it's legal, but here's a thing that Target could do. It could hire like bouncers for all of their stores. Anyone gets violent in the store, starts harassing customers, pepper spray them and drag them out and throw them outside. Are your bouncers going to, will they press charges? Most of them probably will. But your Target, you're sitting on tens of billions of dollars. Just deal with it. Target and other companies like that have enormous sums of money set aside for things like loss and shrink and damages. That's built into their budget. Just build that, taking care of your employees and customers, build that into your budget. If you're really, as you say, Target, standing with the community and celebrating them. Or was that just bullshit? Cafe Fox says, you get spiders big enough to capture bees? Yeah? And Chicago says, they barely pay the Target employees a decent wage. I'm sure they'll hire security. Yeah. I haven't looked into who the CEO of Target is, or what they make, or what the board makes. But I mean, that's also a thing you could do. It's like, hey, your top peoples who all make tens of millions of dollars, just skim a few $1 million off of the top of all them. Just hire security. If you're a bigot and you come into the store and you start threatening people, you get pepper sprayed and you get dragged out. You can press charges, sure. But our people will be out of jail that evening and right back to work. And every time one of you assholes comes in the store, we add more Pride merch. Cry more, bigots. So, yeah, one thing is clear. I don't know, as I said, I don't know what the right answer or answers are, but I do know what some of the wrong answers are. And accommodating bigotry, kowtowing to bigotry, that is never the right answer. because their aggrievement is completely fabricated, so they will never be mollified by anything you do. All you're showing them is that it works, and they're gonna keep pushing. And it's like, well, I don't have any need for tuck-friendly swim shorts. That's fine. I have no need for gardening shears, because I don't have a garden. But, some people do, and might want to work on it. And at some point, if you allow them, they're going to come after something that you might care about. So, always do the right thing, is I think what I'm getting at here. Especially since corporations are people. So, because corporations are people, we expect them to act with humanity. I'd say that's a fair trade. Show me your humanity, corporations, and then I will treat you like a person. Alright. So, a lot of streaming services have been dumping shows, and Disney's removing a bunch of shows. Although, so far as I can tell, Disney has not announced it, but according to reporting, Disney is gearing up to get rid of Turner and Hooch, the Mysterious Benedict Society, Mighty Ducks Game Changers, I don't know if that's a new movie or a show, The Willow Show. I liked The Willow Show. I want more of The Willow Show. It was fun. Including the incredibly inappropriate anachronistic closing music. The Making of Willow. Let's see. Marvel's Project Hero, whatever that was. A 2022 cheaper by the dozen movie. Alright. Stargirl, not that one. Artemis Fowl, not that one either. The Princess, that's a Hulu thing, but, same company. Black Beauty, I think that's The Horse. Earth to Ned, I think it's got an alien puppet in it, so that's neat. Let's see, anything else? Pentatonics Around the World for the Holidays. Yeah, that's a vocal a cappella group. From Hulu, Why the Last Man, Dollface, Darby and the Dead? No idea what that is. Anyway, not confirmed by Disney so far as I've seen, but yeah, they're dropping a bunch of stuff. Which is a shame, because most of this stuff doesn't have a physical release. Willow, so far as I know, does not have a DVD release. So if it's removed from Disney Plus, where you think, did you really like it? Did you want to show it to your kids someday? Gonna have to pirate it, I guess, or hope it comes back at some point. Now, why are companies removing titles from their services? I mean, again, multi-billion-dollar companies just buy more server. It can't be storage space, right? Are they really so cheap that they can't buy more hard drives to put stuff on? Is it an infrastructure thing where the system can only handle a certain amount of shows? Maybe that is what it is. But sometimes what it comes down to is why am I still wearing this thing? Like Netflix, for example, has a license to stream certain movies and shows, and that ends at some point, so they have to take it off their service so that someone else who has the license can run the show. Right? Regardless of the reasons, we've lost a lot of art over the millennia. We've lost a lot of our film history over the century plus. We've lost countless written works. A lot of the, from what I understand, a lot of the Greek statues and stuff, those marble statues that we know that are all white, they used to be painted. Paint all just faded away. When I've only ever seen them without paint, so that's kind of I thought that's just how they did it back then. No, apparently that stuff was painted. So art preservation's important. And it sucks that, I mean, some of these are really recent shows. Willow, I think, came out the end of last year. And it's like, well, it wasn't popular. Well, we actually don't know how popular anything is on streaming because none of the streamers are obligated to disclose their viewing numbers. One of the reasons being is that would be ammo that writers, actors, and other creatives could use to negotiate better deals. I have a feeling that some of this is also kind of a power move, because of the WGA strike and such. It's like, you want to get uppity? You actually want a living wage? You want fair compensation for the work that makes us billions of dollars? Well, what if we disappear your work forever? I mean, I hope it's not that, because that's scummy. Chicago says maybe they're ashamed of how badly those shows did, so they're removing them. Doubt it, because even though we've established that companies are people, we've also established that companies have no shame. They don't. You can't shame them. I mean, the best you're going to get out of them is a "I'm sorry" tweet. You know, like they'll type up a "We regret that we released this video game in such an appalling state, and we're very sorry. We cashed your checks when you bought the game regardless, but we're very, very sorry. We didn't realize that the game didn't run when we tested it, right? Yeah, when we were testing it. Worked on our box. I don't know, but we're very sorry. So sorry." But no, companies have no shame. So I doubt it's that. I doubt they're like... Also, a lot of people really liked Willow. It's like, I don't know how the infrastructure of the streaming works, but unless they've got a hard cap on like the number of shows that their infrastructure can actually handle multiple users browsing and streaming at the same time, maybe there's a limitation there. But there's also some weird thing, and I don't understand it, where junk in a show can be some weird tax write-off. Like, Warner Brothers threw away a bunch of stuff. I think there was a Scooby-Doo movie, there was the Batgirl movie, which apparently they did it to make money. I don't know how that works. I've heard that it works. I don't get it. I've never had it explained to me either, so no idea. But it sucks for, well, everyone except the people at the top who make buku bucks, you know, because the people who worked years to make the movie, you know, write it and stage it and do storyboards and effects, and the actors and the, you know, even the people who, you know, catered and lit the thing and all the post work and, you know, even the marketing department and all the people who were looking forward to seeing it, none of them are happy. You made no one happy. Absolutely no one, except a few really rich people got a bit richer. And call me crass or self-centered, but I genuinely don't care to make fabulously wealthy people even more fabulously wealthy. Particularly when that fabulous wealth comes at the expense of everyone under them. But even if Willow was generally not well received, so The Rise of Skywalker was not well received. I'm sure somebody really... Was that the name of the movie? Yeah, I think it was. The last Star Wars Episode 9. I'm sure somebody likes that movie. Probably more than one. There's probably like 5 people who like Rise of Skywalker. But most people, so far as I can tell, thought the movie was not good. And it's still on Disney Plus. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why individual shows can go missing, and I don't know what the specific reasons are, but I can say that it's a damn shame. There was a 3-part documentary on the music of Black Panther 2. That I heard that I'd watched the first episode and thought it was interesting and hadn't gotten around to watching the second and third episodes when I heard that they were removing that. I'm like, oh shoot, I better watch it then. And it's like, that's not how I want to watch. I don't want to watch stuff. The idea of streaming is we can watch this stuff whenever we want, when we get around to it. And now they're like, oh, you better watch it now or we'll just throw it in the garbage. It's like, oh, I'll catch it on DVD. Oh, we don't release stuff on DVD anymore. There's a lot of stuff that actually does reach physical media still. But yeah, a lot of this stuff that I talked about, not on DVD, and I have not heard any plans for physical release. Which is a damn shame, because a lot of these shows are just going to disappear. And that's a loss. That is a damn shame. We should probably maybe work on getting our laws to catch up with our technology. Like, you have to keep a show on a streaming service unless you have a physical release. And if you don't want to keep it on your streaming service, and if there's no physical release, then it goes in the public domain. Something like that. I don't know if that's tenable. I don't know if that's fair. That's just something off the top of my head. But we should be able to do something. You know? We should be able to adapt to how we've collectively changed our media consumption. We just have to care to. Unfortunately, a lot of the people in the positions of power don't really care to. Like this strike really should not be difficult. Literally, David Zaslav, the WB guy, and the other heads of the individual studios could take a portion of their individual salaries to meet all of the demands. They'd just be less they'd still be multi-millionaires. They'd still have tens upon tens of millions of dollars personally, just not as many tens of millions of dollars. On the other hand, they'd have happy, productive writers, and which would probably lead to a lot more and higher quality shows that then they could profit from, which would make them more money. Oh, let's see. Cafe Fox did a quick search. Not sure exactly how accurate this is, but Rise of Skywalker, 1 billion. Willow TV series, 140 million. Are you talking views? Yeah, there are services, and there's one leading one, the name of which I can't remember. There are services that are doing the best they can with what they have to approximate, the popularity of certain shows and their streaming numbers. They're doing their best to estimate it, but that's a best guess. Probably, it's probably ballpark, but really the streamers just don't want you to know. But even so, Star Wars is Star Wars. 1 billion. While no one likes, the vast majority of people, so far as I'm aware, didn't really care for Rise of Skywalker. It's still Star Wars Episode 9. Everyone saw it. But still, 140 million people watched Willow. That's like a third of the country, of this country. That's a lot of people. on one streaming service. No idea what Willow's availability is worldwide, but that's 100. That's a lot of people. And you know what? You know how many people are going to watch it if you take it off the service? 0. Can't watch it anymore. I don't know. Are you renting hard drives? Maybe you should buy them outright. I don't know. Cafe Fox says earnings. Oh, $140 million in earnings. Oh, you're looking. Okay. I don't know how that would be estimated, but sure. That's 140 million is still a lot of money. Now I have no idea what the budget of the show was. But also, Willow's something that they can make toys out of and get characters at the theme parks and sell lunchboxes and stuff. Disney's really good. That's actually where they make most of their money, is the parks and the accessories and stuff. Movies and video games and stuff are a much smaller portion of the movies and television stuff for Disney are essentially advertisements for their parks. They want to get you into the parks. That's where they make a lot of their money. So, speaking of Disney announced that 2 new Marvel shows, Loki and Echo, are debuting by the end of this year. The new season of Loki starts streaming on October 6th and will run through November. And Echo, a character from the Hawkeye show, her show is... all episodes are available November 29th. What can we read into that, if anything? I honestly don't know. Why is Echo being dumped all at once? And that's a loaded that's a loaded word, dumped, because it definitely has a negative connotation. Is Disney dumping the show, or are they just trying something new? Is it a scheduling thing? Like, they've got October and November pretty much clear for Loki, but they've got something in December that they didn't want overshadowing Echo. Maybe they think Echo is a show that's much better to binge. Don't know. So far as I know, though, this is the first of the Star Wars or Marvel shows on Disney Plus to be released all episodes at once. If I'm not mistaken, all of the Star Wars and Marvel shows have been week-to-week shows. Now, of course, there have been a couple instances where they'd show the first 2, sometimes 3 in the case of Andor. I think it was 3. Did Andor do the first 3 episodes? Well, whatever. Sometimes they'll release the first 2 episodes or so on the first day, and then it's weekly from there on out. But I think Echo's going to be the first one where all episodes are available on the same day. So, interesting. Disney has to realize that the optics of that aren't great, right? Because the perception is the weekly release is the prestige way to do it. And, well, look how we refer to releasing all episodes. You're dumping it all on the same day, right? That's not fair, but that is broadly the perception. And Loki, as much as we all love Tom Hiddleston, you've got a show fronted by a white guy and a show fronted by a disabled native woman. One you're doing the prestige, and one you're dumping. I certainly hope that's not what they're doing. But Disney's not stupid, and corporations are people, you understand. They've got a lot of smart people. Surely they're aware of the optics of that, right?
And I'm not saying that's the way it is. Likely is not. But they've got to be cognizant that that is a way that some people will see that. And understandably so. So, doing it this way is a choice. And so far as I've seen, Disney and Marvel have not commented further on the decisions behind the release strategies for both shows. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is I'm really interested in knowing what the decisions behind the release strategies for the respective shows is and are. Because I don't know. And I hate not knowing, because I'm a busybody. Alright. Regardless, I'm looking forward to both shows. As I said, we all love Tom Hiddleston. The Loki show was fun. And Echo was a cool character. And Hawkeye was fun. So I'm happy to follow her doing whatever the hell she's doing in the new show. Broadly, the Marvel shows have been pretty entertaining to me. So, yeah, looking forward to them. Not terribly familiar with the character from the comic. I was, like, very broadly aware of the character. Like, it's like, I mean, I was about as aware of her as I am as Rom, which that was in the news earlier this week. It's that robot dude that I think Marvel got the licensing for back in the 70s or 80s or something like that. So it's like, yeah, I've heard of it. I've never read it. I've never even seen the character show up in any of the books I've read. So, anyway. Superheroes are fun. Except the bad superhero movies. Like, a year ago, I was doing a series on YouTube. A superhero fanboy watches superhero movies that I missed the first time around. And I think I did like 9 or 10 entries into that series, and every single movie I watched was just really bad. Because the movies that I'd never gotten around to watching were Superman Returns, the Fantastic Four movies, Elektra, Constantine, Catwoman, Green Lantern, although I haven't watched that one yet. And it turns out that my instincts were correct. Because all of them are bad. They're bad movies. Some of them interesting to talk about, but some of them just boring. And the next movie, I've been... In the last 2 weeks, there have been like 3 or 4 nights where it's like, okay, I'm going to do another... because the next film in that series is Ghost Rider. And I just can't bring myself to... I'm like, I'm going to play Zelda. I can't do it. I don't want to watch any more bad movies. I mean, it was to the point where I was like, give me a mediocre movie, man. I mean, give me like, Thor the Dark World or something. You know? I mean, is it a good movie? No, it's one of the weaker entries in the 30-some Marvel movies, but it's still watchable. Like, Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman are adorable. There's some good action. It's funny. Tom Hiddleston again. It's not a good movie, though. But it's like a C. It's not horrible. I wouldn't even call it bad. It's watchable. Yeah. Have I seen Guardians 3? Cafe Fox says, have I seen Guardians 3 or Ant-Man 3 yet? I've not seen Guardians 3. It wasn't even double featuring with itself at the drive-in. It's just, for some reason, the drive-in this week was doing one showing onlys. I don't know if the movie's like super long or something like that, but let's... I can't type, apparently. Let's see what we're looking at this week. Oh, hey, Little Mermaid came out. I saw The Little Mermaid in the theater back in 1989. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is currently double featuring with itself, so yeah. But I did watch Ant-Man last week, I think, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania comes off like a movie that was ripped apart and sewn back together. It feels like a victim of pandemic futzing around, people being unavailable and scheduling. The pandemic threw everything in a lurch. Everything got rescheduled and shuffled around. I have a theory. What can I say about this without spoiling anything? Give me a moment. Okay. There is a Marvel movie or television show that released prior to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I think originally that project was supposed to come after Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, because something that happens in that project doesn't hit very hard unless you've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So I think it was originally the Ant-Man movie was supposed to come first and then that other project, but because everything got shuffled around, that project hit first and Ant-Man comes out later. I'm like, this really would have worked better the other way around. Despite that, and what I mean by ripped apart and thrown together is there are a lot of character beats and story moments and some narrative theming that either doesn't resolve itself or doesn't resolve itself in a particularly coherent or satisfying way. But it doesn't come across as like, damn writers don't know how to write good. No, it just comes off like this got re-edited all to hell, and it's like, okay, well, we were going to do this, but now this movie is over here, so we got to move this over to this movie. That's what it feels like. And, hey man, pandemic, what are you going to do? That said, I enjoyed the movie well enough. Solid B minus. It's okay. It's got some laughs. Visually, I thought, well, funny enough, as you might be able to tell from the title, the majority of the movie takes place in the quantum realm, so it's not shot on location. So all of the backgrounds are generated, right? And all of our actors are projected onto these fabricated backgrounds. And the effect is almost uniformly not great. I mean, it's not distractingly bad, but it's just they're clearly screened into the scene. Black Panther 2 had the same problem. Luckily, a lot of location shots in that movie, so it wasn't ubiquitous throughout the... I believe it's the same effects house, and they were working on both of these movies at the same time, so spread pretty thin. That said, I love the design of the quantum realm. It's truly alien, and it's also colorful and weird and fun to look at. Reminds me of Strange Things, Strange Worlds. What was that cartoon that came out on Disney Plus? That movie came out on Disney Plus a while back. Didn't do very well. Let's see. I think it's called Strange Worlds or something like that. Strange, is that, do I have the right? Strange World. Okay, yeah. Strange World. That movie also just had a wonderful sense of alien world. One thing that I find frustrating about science fiction is a lot of the times every alien planet you ever go to looks like the California desert. Sometimes they put a gel over the camera and it's like maybe got a purplish tint to it, but it's just the goddamn California desert. It's just rock and scrubs. Why does every alien planet look like this? Because it's cheap to drive out into the desert and film there. That's why. But Quantumania has a wonderful design to its world. that I really, really enjoyed. And the characters are cute, and the jokes, a lot of the jokes land, even if the thematic follow-throughs a lot of times don't work because they're not set up properly, or they just are kind of dropped after a while. Not to spoil anything, but there's some relationship stuff between Cassie and Paul Rudd, whatever the character's name is, and Scott. That's it. Cassie and Scott. So they set up a conflict between the two, right? And then it's bolstered when they reach the end of Act 1, right? And then that's completely dropped for the rest of the movie, and it's really never comes up again in any meaningful way. I seriously doubt the scriptwriters completely forgot about that. I'm guessing things just got changed. They do the same MODOK joke twice. And it's funny. It's a funny joke, but they do it twice. There's a character turn in the movie that is completely unmotivated. That it feels like there was supposed to be something else there that would have motivated this character turn, but it's not in the movie. But so yeah, I have a feeling that Quantumania was as befell many film projects over the last few years, and we're going to be seeing this for the next year and a half probably, at least. I still had fun with the movie. I really enjoyed it visually, and the lady who was in Star Wars Mandalorian 3, she's like the Imperial officer lady who was being rehabilitated, but then she framed the other guy, and then they never really did anything with that. I think her name's Kitty O'Brien, something like that. She's in that movie, and I went, I recognize that person. She was in The Mandalorian Season 3. And she does not skip leg day, or arm day, or abdominal day. Gracious me. That is a fit person right there. Yeah, so to answer your question, yes, I saw Quantumania and thought it was okay. I had fun with it. Lee, hello. Let's see, what were we talking about? Oh, so Super Mario Brothers movie, surprisingly, it came out on April 5th. Made lots of money because it's the Super Mario Brothers movie, and it has Mario in it, who's like one of the most recognizable characters in the world, like on par with Mickey Mouse. So not surprising whether you liked it or not. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Would have preferred a bit more meat on the bones, but it was a tasty bone. The movie made lots of money, and it came out on VOD on May 16th. So, like, 5 or 6 weeks after it hit theaters. And my thought was like, I mean, you're making $1 billion. It's still doing really well in the theater. Why is it hitting VOD? Because they're charging $30 for it on VOD. That's why. I was like, oh, that's it. That's that answers that. I mean, it's great for some consumers, I suppose, who don't want to or can't get out to the theater. They have the ability to watch it at home a lot sooner. Good on them. Shame they got to pay $30 for it. Although, I mean, if there's like 4 or 5 people in your house, it's not a bad deal. it's a bad deal if you live alone. I'm paying $30 for one movie. It's 8 o'clock, but I did want to talk about one more thing. There is show and tell time. Let's see if I can find it quickly. I keep all my movies in alphabetical order, so it shouldn't take me too long. Here we go. I own John Wick on DVD? When did I get this? I didn't realize I had that movie. Huh. Did I buy it? Did someone gift it to me? Huh. I have no idea why I have a DVD copy of John Wick. Anyway, Jin-Roh, The Wolf Brigade, is a anime movie from the 90s somewhere. I really like this movie. I bought the special edition. It's a cool movie. They did a live action. Well, South Korea, Japanese, as you might have expected, since I called it an anime movie. South Korea did a live action version of this a couple of years ago, called, well, not Jin-Roh. It was called something else, The Wolf Brigade. But it's essentially the same movie. Although this, if I'm remembering right, this takes place in Japan in like the 1950s, and the Korean version takes place in, as you might guess, South Korea, but in like the near future, like 2030 or something like that. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same movie, although the first movie is a what if World War II went differently, and the South Korean one is what if North and South Korea were reunifying in order to deal with other stuff happening, superpowers, America, Russia, China turning against them. So South and North Korea reunite, and that causes internal strife. So a bit of a different setup, but what happens in the movie is broadly the same in both. And I'll tell you, in the South Korean live action version, they managed to do the armor, and it looks pretty good, even when moving. The problem is while there's some good action and some fun gore in this, it's mostly a slow, contemplative movie. It's really about the internal struggle of our characters. The movie, the live action film that I watched last week, is a bit more interested in the action, because it takes the action scenes from the anime and grossly expands them. I mean, they're not poorly done, but good gravy, they go on and on. Also, another thing about the anime is it's a bit twisty. There's a lot of there's this organization that does the thing, but they're the terrorists and they're a secret double agent, and then this person claims to be this person, but oh, I lied and I turned out to be actually working with this organization the whole time. Wahaha. Right? So as you watch the film, you're constantly guessing about where people's true loyalties are and where they're coming from and what their ultimate goals are. In the live action movie, there's almost none of that. They put all their cards on the table. It's like the same plot, like the person who the turncoat is a turncoat, and that they know that person's a turncoat and are using them to find their bosses. It's like, kind of makes the whole thing not pointless, but it removes all tension. Because the audience and the characters all know everything, which is like, okay. They also changed the ending, which, I mean, it's fine, but to me, the ending it feels like, oh, audiences hated that, we need to change that. That's too dark and depressing. Have you ever seen Grave of the Fireflies? What if we made a live-action version of Grave of the Fireflies, but this time the kids live? Sorry for spoiling a movie that's 20, 30 years old at this point. Although I think they... Well, I do apologize if that was a spoiler, but that's my point. It, like, the characters dying is literally the point of the movie. Unless you're going to change what the point of the movie is, and if so, fine, you can't change the conclusion. Because that's not what you've set up. That's not what you're paying off. So, yeah, the South Korean remake, while there's visually some cool stuff in it, it didn't work for me. There were, they everything's told, there's no surprises, everything's told you up front. It doesn't really concern itself too much with the inner struggle of the characters, so yeah, you don't end up connecting with them or caring what they're doing, and they just completely change the ending where everyone's happy, which kind of defeats the entire theme of the movie in the first place. So, So, that's it for the podcast. Thanks for listening to me yammer for an hour. Join me tomorrow, noon Pacific Standard Time, and we'll get back to Trails from Zero. I did spend some time kitting out our special support section friends. I also spent some time in the casino grinding monies so I could buy the armor that's in the casino because it was quite good. I also sold enough Sepith to buy... You remember the accessory in Imelda's shop where I was like, ooh, man, that's really good, but it's like 30,000 Mira. Yeah, I had a lot of Sepith, so I sold a bunch of Sepith and I bought one for everybody. So, so it's gonna be fun times. I don't know if we'll actually get around to fighting anything tomorrow, but should be fun. All right, that's it for me. Thanks everyone. Have a great night. Take care. Bye bye.